Fallout has plenty of amazing companions, but sometimes you come across characters you can't but wish they could accompany you in your journeys. From the strongest, most untamable creatures to NPCs whose backstories are too interesting to not make you wander. And as such, I wandered. A tickle to the brain and a weird dream later, and this courier now believes that his sole purpose in life is to protect and show the world to a creature with a heart of gold. So, can you beat Fallout New Vegas while protecting Snuffles? Now, all I know is I'm gonna have to be a beast in VAT, and that the less I have to worry about me, the more I can worry about Snuffles. So, I'm gonna go with 9 in endurance, intelligence, agility, and luck, 2 in strength, and 1 in both perception and charisma. As for the tagged skills, I went with guns, medicine, and speech, and the traits I chose were built to destroy and early bird. I figured this ought to do it. Well, I hope it will, especially cause I just know the little bugger has been told 1,000 times, by chomps, to not head north. So I just know she would love to see the quarry eventually. Yeah, we're doing that. Doc Mitchell heard me, took pity on me, and allowed me to take all the stimpaks and useful stuff he had laying around. Gave me a Pip-Boy, and in return, all I had to do was to change into his old vault suit right in front of him. Ew. Feeling dirty but focused, I complied, saw the sun for the first time in weeks, and started my pilgrimage. I left Good Springs, passed through Gene skydiving, kept going northeast, found a plasma pistol on a bright follower that had a really dark day. Sorry, not sorry, and reached Sloan, where we meet Snuffles. Oh, she's such a cutie, limping as elegantly as always. Through a medicine 30 skill check, we can clean her wounds and treat the injury, so obviously I do. Now, to recruit Snuffles, or anything you'd really want, we need the JIP Companions Command and Control mod. Well, maybe there's others, but this is the one I like. I let everything in default and just binded the key I needed for this to work. Now, this mod gives you its own menu for you to handle companions. Things like telling them to wait, which I decided I cannot use. Healing them with stimpaks, which I have to use since Snuffles will not heal by sleeping, and most importantly, this mod turns any companions essential. But that wouldn't be a challenge, so if Snuffles gets defeated in battle, she'll go unconscious. But that's unacceptable. So, if that happens, I have to reload and suck it up till we win together. I think that's only fair, since if I die, the game auto-reloads, so. If Snuffles cannot fight for me and revive me, then I cannot do it either. Chomps, then, to much of Snuffles' dismay, tells us for the 1,000th time not to go north. And I can see it in her eyes. Oh, she really wants to, but we are not ready for that, so that'll have to wait. Back to the one safe haven we know, and my first stop is the general store, where I buy a shovel and sell some things I don't need. Cause we'll be looting everything that might be useful or valuable in Good Springs. Couple magazines and stimpaks, and that's when we first meet my protege's babysitter's savior, Victor. I thank him for digging me up and decide to do some grave digging just in case someone else needs help, but all I found was some caps and rounds. Near my former 5-star suite, I found some cigarette butts on the floor that the man in a checkered suit left behind, and this is unacceptable. Had the cemetery been in Sloan's, Snuffles could have choked on that. Oh, I also found a snow globe that was definitely not a precious tribute someone left behind. This just screams a video game collectible, and you know it. Hoarding then begins. A wasteland omelet seemed lucky, not that I'll remember to use it. And the other memorable things were the Snick skill book, a star cap, and some more magazines, and a weapon repair kit. Before going into the schoolhouse, I got a reason to go and meet Sunny. Snuffles, stay, Snuffles. Attaboy. Don't worry, she won't bite unless I tell her to. I then ask Sunny if there's any work to be done, and this is such a cool detail. When you do that, she'll just give you a couple bobby pins and a locksmith's magazine for you to try and crack the safe in the schoolhouse. And it's a great detail because there is work to do, but she'll say that there isn't cause She caught on that what we really want is money rather than, actually wanting to work. She's cool like that. And sure, it's also a great introduction to an important mechanic. She also even has lore for it, since not even Easy Pete's dynamite was enough to blow the safe open. She will also teach us how to survive in the wasteland later, so we'll do her a solid and offer to help her in return when that comes. I then had the bright idea to get that Magnum revolver from the bar, but the guy that was watching me didn't care. So I wondered. Ooh, how I wondered. I just had to test it. Yeah, I expected at least a voice line, but okay, we'll sell all this later then. And let's not forget to steal all the moonshine and valuable tech that the locked door to the Prospector Saloon's storage holds. Don't judge me, okay? My Snuffles deserves all the premium mole rat food I can buy. Anyways, schoolhouse, and that means combat, and no way I'm letting a single mantis near my good girl. I got some more loot, and then the safe. Now, the bad news is I cannot open it, even with the bonus from the magazine. The other news is it only took me 5 minutes from my limited time on Earth to get to find the right word in the hacking minigame, but yeah. Locked, disengaged. Stealth Boy acquired, and there's one little thing I'd like to test for a future run, so... Apparently, Victor tries to prevent you from going north into Cazador territory. That's something I read happens but completely forgot, and if you go past the signs, and wait a bit rather than charge in like a maniac, he does.
You need to be careful. It's dangerous out here.
Although it's just yet another clue on how Victor isn't really going out of his way, out of kindness, just doing his job, as you already know. Anyways, sold some more stuff to chat. Sunny taught me something I already knew, and asked me if I wanted to help out in keeping geckos away from the town's water supply. And good thing she asked, because I was this settler's only chance of survival. Fortunately, everything went well. Level 2 comes around, I dunk all my points into my failsafe plan, although I'd rather fight my way through Hoover. I just gotta be prepared, cause I never tried anything like this. As for the perk, I took Confirmed Bachelor for the extra 10% damage against male NPCs. Sunny then wants me to learn how to make healing powder, so I go back to the cemetery, not because I forgot to take the Brock flower, but because it only spawns after this quest. Yeah. And I know there was some up the hill, but I was bored of fighting geckos, so both flies and the rat scorpion it is. I got back, done the thingy, and Sunny then asks me to go and introduce myself to Trudy. I go back to Good Springs, try to wait until it's 6 AM for early bird to work, and Malcolm Holmes. He shows up and wants an autograph. I signed it with my shotgun, cause allowing stalkers around Snuffles would be a hazard. I then wait some more and go into the saloon where Joe Cobb is threatening Trudy since Good Springs is protecting a merchant named Ringo. Empathy soon takes over cause they're just protecting their Snuffles. Also, her radio's broken. Man, I can't imagine my Snuffles being broken. Fixed the radio and I went on to meet Ringo, to whom I promised to try and gather up some folk to lend a hand. Sunny was all in, cause she knew the powder gangers would just keep making demands, and she gave me some tips on how to convince the others. Trudy needed a speech check to gather up some folk. The Patriot's cookbook was the only reason I got Easy Pete to gather his dynamite. Chet wanted 1,000 caps or a barter check, and the magazine wasn't enough. But the roving trader outfit I found earlier made it possible. And Doc Mitchell, all he needs to lend some stimpaks is you asking, but with a medicine check, which I passed, he'll give you some extra. Back to Ringo, and just as I was telling him the good news, Sunny shows up with both Easy Pete's dynamite and with news that the powder gangers are making a move on the town. Combat begins, and oh no, Snuffles is charging head-on into them too. Oh, she actually got one. Thankfully, Joe Cobb was reloading when she recklessly went for him. And yeah, I cannot imagine how Hoover them or the quarry's gonna go. But as for the powder gangers, they were easy actually. They went down, we didn't lose a single Good Springs named NPC. Ringo offered me some Crimson Caravan funds he had on him and told me that he would have more for me if I visited him in their headquarters. Oh, and he also said hello to Snuffles.
Hello.
I looted the rest of the fallen folk, sold some more useless goodies to Chet, bringing my caps to nearly 1800. Took a nap in the BB gun house, which is when I realized Snuffles wouldn't be regaining her HP. Unless I use Stimpaks, so yeah, that's why the rule exists, and before going into Brim, I decided to make my way through a couple coyotes and into the Devil's Gullet, Good Springs Sinkhole, where I found some more ammo, Hydra, and another star cap. On my way to Brim, I should have looked at the map rather than going to the first road I saw, which put me near Sloan again. And this isn't even because of backtracking, but because the powder gangers kind of hate me now. Past Gene skydiving, some of them started shooting at me, and as I was trying to move on, Snuffles! Decided this would be a battle for the ages, so I gotta make a run for it, especially cause the shotgun is only really useful in close range. We managed to take care of these two, I loot them, level 3 comes around, and into speech my points go. I get their precious loot and realize that it's a miracle that Snuffles survived the fight. No options to heal him in dialogue, so I bring up the mods menu, find the option to give him an aid item and... Oh no! I didn't mean to do that. Damn. A reload it'll have to be, and this time I figured out what I needed was to press the mouse wheel instead of the left mouse button. Oh well. A couple more powder gangers decided to violently say hi, but we said no. I did trigger a mine, but fortunately it wasn't close to Snuffles, and eventually we reach Brim. An NCR trooper warns us that it's on us if we really want to keep going. We do. And over there, some escaped convicts try to take us down, but fail miserably. Near Nash's residence, we find Daniel Wyand, also known as Courier 4. By the way, don't bother looking up where are the rest of the couriers, it's just us, Danny Boy, and Ulysses. Well, kinda. Since there's both no one else, and apparently the numbers came from the packages, so... Yeah, Ulysses would have been Courier 6, but rejected it. I then tried to repair Ed E, cause why not, but since I didn't have the skills for it, and didn't plan to bring him along for the full journey, I let him be. Got Ruby's casseroles and made my way into the Bison Steve Hotel, where the first convicts were easy to take down, but then came the room with the leader. Snuffles became unconscious before I realized, so I had to reload, and by the fourth attempt, my luck remembered to better affect my critical hits. And so I managed to take down the leader swiftly, and the others as well.
I don't suppose you came here to rescue me. I'd cross my fingers, but my hands are numb.
Deputy Beagle had to throw in his silly joke, but I've no time to waste, so he gets the short end of the stick. That gives us another clue, telling us to go to Novak through Nipton. But when I go outside, Snuffles is nowhere to be seen, and I'm getting shot at by even more escaped convicts. I go into one of the houses so Snuffles can spawn right by me, rather than wandering by herself, but when I come back outside, she just starts going towards the convicts. And me, having no interest in visiting an unfunctional roller coaster, I make a run for it. And soon as I can pass the time, I do, and even though Snuffles didn't spawn by me the first time, she did on the second attempt. What I wasn't expecting was for a powder ganger to show up and tell me I'll pay for what I did? Oh, great, cause they hate me. On the plus side, there's only 3 of them, and they're weak, so I give that plasma pistol a go, and it did not disappoint. I decided to approach Nipton from close to Jackrabbit Springs rather than Ivanpah's lake or racetracks, and as usual, 2 silly gooses are fighting for star caps. So I just wait until one takes care of the other. Thomas takes care of Jacqueline, and I take care of Thomas. 9 star caps and a journal later, and who won the lottery? He did. Oliver goes on to shut up permanently. I take his lottery ticket as a token of good fortune and go on to meet Volpez in Culta, who goes on about trying to justify his villainous ethics because of the town's bad morals. I just nod and then dip. Not wanting to fall prey on an ambush, I made my favorite detour, except this time it's not just the grenade launcher guy, but his whole pack that I got too close to. Although, not that the others have the same weaponry, we're good, it's just ironic. We then pass through Wolfhorn Ranch and eventually reach Camp Searchlight, where First Sergeant Astor says hello. He then tells me the town's gone to hell and to go to Novak instead, which, joke's on him, cause Novak's where I've been heading all along. I just wanted this map marker for later. On our way there, we get to see a Legion member helping us out. That's unexpected. And not only have I miscalculated my distance from these other Vipers, but I also quick-saved as soon as I realized it, which was not only a bad choice, but really close to Novak. First attempt didn't go well, or the second, but the third attempt, they got their asses handed to them so easily that I actually felt offended with myself by not having accomplished this the first time. In Novak, my first stop is the Dinobite so I can sell all the loot I'm hoarding to Cliff Briscoe and also to meet Boone. He has some trust issues since his wife was sold to the Legion and therefore with the town of Novak, cause how would the Legion know or why would they care? And that's when he realizes that a new face just might help figuring out what happened. And obviously I offer my help. Boone's shift then ended, meaning I had to wait until it started, and that's when Victor shows up again. Yeah, this ain't normal. He's definitely keeping tabs on us. But back to Boone. By leading Manny to this ambush, I got 3 things. Our next clue about Penny, a first Racken Beret, and an opportunity to test something I never did. Oh, and speaking of things people never did, Manny is not the culprit, if that wasn't obvious enough. Jeannie May is, so we are going to her house and steal the key to her safe. Her beauty sleep never worked, and since it's nighttime, let's also visit the McBrides. Dusty tells us that his Brahmin have been attacked. This always happens in nighttime, and it's always one Brahmin getting attacked. But it's also been happening so often that they're down to half their pack. And I know you love a murder mystery as much as I do, so let's solve this one, although I'm gonna have to wait until tomorrow, cause it's past midnight, so back to Jeannie Mae's safe, where we find a bill of sale. And this proves that she's the one that sold Carla. So yes, I want to see if there's dialogue for only finding this after having Boone press the trigger. I might have chosen the wrong dialogue to test this, cause I didn't have a new option, and whoever came up with saying honesty's the best approach never met a man that didn't care for context. Anyways, Boone has since went on to join both his bestie and his wifey on the big sleep. Oh, and I also took his first Racken Beret in case I ever need to repair mine. I then waited till midnight by the ranch, and there's something using a stealth boy. A Nightkin. I approached, but not only did it not react to my presence, there was also no way to engage in dialogue, so I just shot it. And hey, I was expecting it to put up a fight, but 2 shotgun hits in VATS took care of it before it took his gun out. Back to Dusty and we get a reward, 75 caps and this.
And help yourself to anything in that freezer over yonder. We got more steaks in there than we'd be able to eat in a year.
So, how many steaks are there if it takes them over a year to go through them? 10. 10 steaks. So I'm guessing that's just a figure of speech and a reminder to not always take everything NPCs say at face value. And as a result of our good deed, we became accepted in Novak. And I figure there's one last good action we can do. Jeannie Mae has gone to hell and... Really? Some guy aggroed? What a simp! There's really no way to go about it cause no one else came after me. I also pondered about going to meet Nobark, but I didn't want to risk him being aggroed as well. I like Nobark. And the clue we've gotten from Manny pointed us to Boulder City, but on our way there, there's gonna be some more Vipers, and the grenade launcher tried to hurt my Snuffles. And for that, I gave them the option to think about what they did in the afterlife. I then saw the lonesome drifter just chilling, and I couldn't resist stealing the guitar. I didn't even have a reason other than I like guitars. In Boulder City, I shot the monument expecting Private Kowalski to give me the funny dialogue option, but guess that's only a thing if we introduce ourselves? He just started shooting at me, no context. Anyways, dead. Oh, and I'm now shunned by the NCR even though he shot at me first. This does not happen when you chat him up. I'm pretty sure of that, but hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Lieutenant Monroe then tells me that the Great Khans are holed up with a couple NCR hostages, and that they're at a standstill. I explained that they took something from me, and that I can try to mediate the situation.
What the hell? You're that courier Benny wasted back in Good Springs. You're supposed to be dead.
I then use speech to convince Jessup that if he wants to leave this place alive, I am his best bet. And if that he releases the hostages, I'll convince the lieutenant to let him go. He reluctantly agrees and even gives me the last piece of the puzzle, Benny's lighter. Levels 5 and 6 both come around, speech 100, and my plan B is done. I go with Bloody Mess for the extra 5% damage, and I then make good on my word by convincing Monroe to withhold his end of the bargain. And I'm not emphasizing it, I really had to convince him. Now, being this close to Hoover Dam, I decided to pay it a visit so I can collect another snow globe. Upon returning to Boulder City, just who do we find if not Victor? Again. And I know about you, but I'm tired about being followed by this guy, so I'm gonna fight fire with fire. That's right, this time we are gonna follow him, hopefully to the strip. And the first thing that I found odd was that he could have just gone through the 188, then Repcon, Camp McCarran, Sharecropper Farm, then Freeside, but no. His option was the Boulder Beach campground just by the Lake Lurks. Thank you. We then keep going and... Huh? So... does he chill there for a couple days and then despawns, or... is this infinite until we enter the strip for the first time? I have no clue. I'm also not gonna test that on this one, cause there's more pressing issues at hand right now, like taking care of a family of bighorners right before following 80% of the path I mentioned before, where we wouldn't have encountered a single enemy. I eventually reach the gun runners, sell everything I don't need, which brings me to a total of way more caps than I need for the cap check. But before going into Freeside, I decide to go into the Crimson Caravan Company camp, where Ringo thanks us once again and throws some more caps our way. In Freeside, my first stop is the Followers of the Apocalypse, so I can get the snow globe from their old Mormon fort. And right before the strip, a thug has the genius idea of attacking Snuffles, which led him to become a 5,000-piece puzzle. Old Ben warns us about the Securitron cap check, the robots realize we up, and as such allow us to visit the rich part of town. A squatter tries to go in and realizes just how many rights the Mojave is willing to give him. I also don't know why one of the Securitrons aggroed against the others and on me, since Snuffles jumped right into it, as she always does. Victor shows up for the last time, asks us to go to the Lucky 38, but no, not yet. And then we find... Billy!
I love these robots with their friendly little policeman faces. Sure, they still rough you up, but they look so happy. I've been in love with the same woman for 17 years. If my wife ever finds out, she'll kill me. No! I told my wife, she's good looking for a ghoul. It's just too bad she's not a ghoul. Ay, ay, ay. Hey, what about that suit Benny wears? If I had a suit like that, the ladies would be all over me. What? You expect a punchline? The guy pays my salary. It's true.
I'm not even say or do anything on this one. Just have some jokes. Next stop, the Vault 21 gift shop. I pickpocket Sarah's room key, go over there and... Why is the door open? Okay, I guess. Now, to the tops. I give Swank all of the clues and he tells me to go and explore Benny's room to find even more proof. Now, to be honest, somehow I mistook that as him giving me my weapons and sending Benny to his room, so don't mind me looking around like an idiot in disbelief. We then meet Yes Man, who tells us all about Benny's plan of taking over the strip without having planned a way to get into the 38. Such a dummy. Fortunately for us, that's something we can do and it is a solid plan. So, how about we go and get the platinum chip and get this show on the road? I make my way back to Benny.
What in the goddamn?
And convince him to have a 1-on-3 chat between us, Snuffles and my grenade launcher. We get the chip, I take Maria and his suit as souvenirs, and doing things this way ensures his guards will not aggro on me in the casino. Level 8 comes around, I put all my points into lockpicking just in case I ever need to go and get the Gobi rifle. And I took the Sneering Imperialist perk, which is amazing for the endgame. Vulpaz apparently outgrew his furry phase and decided to suit up to tell me that his boss has a thing for couriers, and that's how I got some jewelry from a bald man that asked me to visit him as soon as I could. Not knowing what to do, I took some time in the casinos, had some lunch with Mortimer, knowing Snuffles has never been safer. Played a couple hands in Gamora, and thought, this is the perfect time to show Snuffles what separates the men from the boys. In Joanna's bedroom, we got to see her Pokemon trading card collection, played some board games, and Snuffles got to see what it's like to have some hair. I fast traveled to Boulder City, reached the 188, meet Veronica, we kill some scorpions, and she's hungry.
I'd like a large atomic shake and a double Brahmin burger. And easy on the agave sauce this time.
We then meet Ramos, and Snuffles got bored. So, I left Veronica behind, and we moved on with our journey. I riddled the wasteland for mad cow disease, and in Field's check, I grabbed Abilene. Not because we'll need it, I just figured I could sell it later. I mean, it's just sitting there. And then we meet George, the boomer that's not part of the boomers. He wants to make a bet, but I usually forget to come back, so yeah, I'll just be taking his caps now instead. The way to the boomers was not working out. Snuffles is too slow, and instead of targeting me, they repeatedly target her. That was disappointing, but do not worry, I've got a plan, although I'm not sure if it will work. But it's very much worth a try, so let's put this one on hold until I'm ready. We then passed through Fiend territory. Things didn't really go according to plan, but this is doable. Second attempt, and surely enough, picking them one by one worked out. At least on the first group, well, what I mean is, the exact same thing happened with the second group of fiends. Anyways, we also got to cook, and this time I didn't find any geckos on the way to Red Rock Canyon. And once in there, I knew just where to find 2 turbo. There's 3, I know, but I don't know where the third one is. I also reckon 2 is enough. Also, ideally, I would have kept the turbo for Hoover Dam, but yeah, that's my strat for the boomers later. And right now, we've got a Baldy to meet, so we make our way through Camp Searchlight. A couple ghouls tried to have lunch, but I would never let that happen. And on the way to Cottonwood Cove, we see Anders, who was forced to cosplay as Jesus. Now, there's a good way to get him down, and there's a fast way, and I don't feel like helping the cons, so... Approaching the cove, and the Legion Explorer takes notice of the Mark of Kaiser and directs us to Lucullus, who I tell to start rowing, cause we got places to be.
Some of the slaves have been spreading stories about her mannequin.
In the fort, Edward starts complimenting me so much I thought he'd give me some more gifts, but this weirdo just shares his kink of enjoying the hell of having couriers causing the ground to shake. So, to the weather monitoring station it is, where we can use the platinum chip to access the Securitron vault. Mr. House shows up. He's a bit sassy, cause how could Courier 6 ignore the one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to not go into the Lucky 38 immediately to talk to a guy that could hack literally any Securitron we've encountered to do so. So I proceed, use Maria to take care of the Protectrons and turrets, and Snuffles, although still as eager as always, didn't really have nothing to worry about on this one. I used the chip to upgrade the Securitron army to their Mark II upgrade software, level 9 comes around, and I go back to Caesar. For both seeing his watery eyes of joy after having felt the ground shake, and for the 500 free points of experience. In the strip, an NCR trooper gives me a note to go and meet Ambassador Crocker. I thought the trigger would be to come out of the Lucky 38, but apparently it's just to meet House. Okay. Anyways, who cares about Crocker? In the 38, my first stop is the cocktail lounge for the snow globe. I decided to ignore the one from the boomers, by the way. Then I sold all my collection to Jane, and I wasn't really feeling like talking to a computer, so I used the chip to make my way into Robert himself. He was not amused. So I prevented him from ever being sad again. Level 10 came around, I went with a mysterious stranger perk, cause why not? And upon leaving the Securitron Zagroth? What? This never happens. Is it because I brought a companion here? Had to reload. Wasn't really expecting any of this, but on the second try, the Securitrons were no match for Maria. Well, these two I mean, because I just had to steam pack Snuffles and then we left. And went back to Boomer territory to test out that turbo. Things didn't really work out the first time, but even though I did the exactly same thing on the second attempt, things just worked out. Okay, I'll take it. Raquel then introduces us to Mother Pearl. Snuffles doesn't like it here, so we leave. Back to the strip, and this time we're gonna give the good news to Yes Man. We're ready for him to join us at the Lucky 38 and to follow up with the plans for a Snuffles independent New Vegas. The whole unskippable Securitron upgrade showcase happens. We tell Yes Man we can ignore all of the tribes. I tell him Kimball is no exception. And now he wants to install an override chip in the El Dorado substation. Alright, but on our way there, a Legion ambush is waiting for us because apparently Baldy's feeling betrayed and would like to see me return his offering or something. I said no take backsies. And then an NCR Ranger comes in, helps us, gives me an emergency radio. Cool! Said no one in the 14 years this game's been out. On our way to the substation, I thought the Ranger was also going there, but apparently not. Anyways, we finally get there, I installed the chip, the fellas inside got mad but didn't shoot once at Snuffles, and that's what matters. And before the ones outside realize what's up, I managed to fast travel away from the substation. Level 11 came around, I went to the Gunrunners to browse some new toys, and that's when I saw this beauty. An anti-material rifle for around 8,000 caps and plenty of 50 calibers, including explosive and incendiary rounds. Yeah, I'm taking this, cause Snuffles, long-lasting dream of going north from Sloan, remember? Yeah, time to babysit this cutie throughout the whole of the quarry. Let's do this. I tried sniping a young Deathclaw from afar, but it wasn't working. I then tried coming closer, but Snuffles just had to try to cosplay as Sonic the Hedgehog every time. So, eventually, enough crits did the job, but come on, that's just a young one. And then, it hit me. Why am I not using the improved calibers exactly? Okay, so let's try the explosive rounds. They should be the best. First shot, think that was a miss. Second shot, oh, now that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, this is doable. With the entrance cleared, it's time to move into the beast's lair, cause yeah, I will not be sniping them from up the hills. Let's live a little. I then spot the alpha male Deathclaw and... really? 2 hits. And sure, crits went my way, but oh, I love the anti-material rifle so much. Just not the standard 50 caliber. Let's have that be very, very obvious. I also got the fat man from the lake, and it's now time from the Big Mama and her young'uns. She, obliterated me. Also, fun fact that I just found out. If the game loads by itself after you die, or if you reload for some reason, no matter which type of round I had set, and I tested this, 100% of the times it reloaded, it was always the standard 50 caliber that was activated. That's annoying. Anyways, Deathclaw Mother, and as per usual, giving things a couple tries with an overpowered weapon and hoping for good criticals is an amazing strategy. The baby Deathclaws got a free ticket for a family reunion on the afterlife, and me and Snuffles got some eggs from breakfast, and I also found a mini nuke. I then went back to the Lucky 38, had some rest, breakfast, and went on to rendezvous with Yes Man, and guess what? The Legion has started to make their move for the second battle of Hoover Dam. In the west side, a rain of incendiary rounds did the trick, and even the mysterious stranger came to get a slice of the pie. In the offices, 2 NCR heavy troopers were guarding the door we needed to get into, so I just lied to them. They left, I installed the override chip so Yes Man can keep having fun. I've agreed to activate the Securitron army, obviously, since it's my army. Took care of a couple legionaries on the way, actually activated the army, and we go out from the offices and into the east side of the dam. Couple more legionaries, no biggie really. Level 12 came around, I put the points into medicine to make stimpaks even better, and took Fight the Power for even more extra damage against our enemies. Oh, and there was a levitating anti-material rifle I took just in case I needed to repair mine. Then into the Legate's camp we went. I sniped the first Praetorian guard. Snuffles was not helpful at all against the next 2 that came from the tents, but a couple tries and I managed to snipe them before they forced Snuffles to take a nap. I took care of the guard post guy from the south, couldn't find a couple guards from the north, and since Kaiser wanted his mark back, I decided to give Linnaeus a gift he could bring home to Kaiser. That mini nuke. And not gonna lie, only being able to damage him to half his health was not amusing in the slightest to me. But on a more positive note, that's exactly why I kept some explosive rounds around. Couple shots, Linnaeus goes down, and so did the other 2 guys, but something about the way they flew made me laugh out loud when it happened. It was so cartoonish. And we finished the job, couple more guards included, and it's now time to go and meet General Lee Oliver, whose top 3 favorite hobbies include doing slow walks, making sure you know all the swear words in the English language, and letting you know that much like the cake in Portal, the cigar is also a lie.
Was just reaching in my coat to give you a cigar.
And having had the Quarry and Linnaeus as true challenges, I can't but turn this joke of a general into the comedic relief he's so good at. Yes, man, please throw General Oliver from the dam.
No, get away from me, you goddamn TV on wheels.
Lovely. Thank you, Yes, man. And I guess Snuffles pushed me into a Securitron cause this is not normal. And that's it, so can you beat Fallout New Vegas while protecting Snuffles? Yes you can, and not only you can, but you also should. This was really fun. Let me know if you have any ideas you'd like to see me do, and I'd like to give a big shout out to Steve Whittle and to John Walker for their support of the channel, and to you. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, I hope I'll see you on the next one, and I hope you have a good one. Bye!
And I guess I'll see you around. We accomplished a lot together. It was fun. Take care.
And so the courier who had cheated death in the cemetery outside Good Springs cheated death once again, and the Mojave wasteland was forever changed. The courier, with the aid of Yes Man, drove both the Legion and the NCR from Hoover Dam, securing New Vegas's independence from both factions. With Mr. House out of the picture, part of the Securitron army was diverted to the Strip to keep order. Any chaos on the streets was ended. Quickly. Chaos became uncertainty, then acceptance with minimal loss of life. New Vegas assumed its position as an independent power in the Mojave. Supporting the ideals of independence, the courier was recognized as the man responsible for a truly free New Vegas. He ensured Mr. House's tyranny was broken, and neither Caesar's Legion nor NCR would ever gain control over New Vegas.
With little law left in the wasteland, the Brooms continued to defend themselves against the prospectors and scavengers invading their territory.
After the courier ensured New Vegas remained free, the followers found that independent Vegas was even more unstable and violent than before. Old Mormon Fort became excessively burdened by the influx of patients, struggling to provide even the most basic of services.
With New Vegas's independence formally declared, Goodsprings thrived. More travelers stopped by Goodsprings on their way to and from the Strip, and the locals grew prosperous from the traffic.
The Kings retained their control of Freeside, and while they continued to favor the needs of locals, they tolerated the citizens of the defeated NCR.
Armed with a wide array of improvised explosives and stolen weapons, the Vault 19 powder gang tormented the Mojave wasteland for years. Citizens of the NCR were favorite targets, and they always suffered the worst fates.
Prim, already torn apart by powder gangers, was dealt a killing blow by the courier. Though prospectors pick through the remains of the town from time to time, no one reestablishes it as a settlement.
And so the courier's road came to an end, for now. In the new world of the Mojave wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.